Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day to start things off. Today is the day. After months, years of anticipation, the Bitcoin halving is here. Today, just past 20 hours 30, depending on where you are in the world. I think it's roughly at the time of me making this video, about a good 10 hours left. The rewards that Bitcoin miners receive in exchange for the work they do to add transactions to the blockchain will be cut in half. What does this mean for the Bitcoin network? Predictions about the consequences of the halving range far and wide, but there are several popular narratives among cryptocurrency analysts. At present, the price of Bitcoin has taken a bit of a hit, if you will. Bitcoin peaked at 9,700 on Sunday, the 10th of May. At press time, the 11th of May, that figure has shrunk to 8,600. We recovered from, it says 8,400. I spoke about this yesterday as well. Depending on where you looked and where you were getting your cryptocurrency prices or cryptocurrency articles, we dropped to as low as 8,100 on certain cryptocurrency platforms, but we are or have recovered from 8,100 within the last 24 hours. Although it's important to note that Bitcoin is up roughly 40% since the beginning of the year, outperforming both gold and US dollars. I've been seeing a lot of articles about this as well, that a lot of people have been trying to see what assets have been doing well during all of this madness that has taken place over the last 3 months. And once again, even with a move down, if you will, Bitcoin is at the moment, I believe, still the best performing asset of anything in the world right now because of, there's a little chart right there. One of the most popular beliefs in cryptocurrency circles about halving events is that they are great for the price of Bitcoin, that sooner or later, the halving will cause the Bitcoin price to explode. The belief stems from the fact that cutting the mining reward in half contributes to greater scarcity of Bitcoin as the number of users on the network continues to grow. At this present pre-halving moment, 1,800 Bitcoin are produced every day through miners. Post-halving, that is going to be 900 per day. And then it goes on to talk about some other people what they think and how long it'll take place. This one person, I believe, he said he believes it'll take anywhere from 18 to 24 months for Bitcoin to try to reach over 20,000 again. I think that is I don't even think the word is conservative answer at that point. I think it'll happen much sooner than that. I think we are at the point aiming for prices that are a lot higher than 20,000. So I think 20,000 will not be as difficult as people think, but I think the more difficult part will be the actual mega psychological barrier of $1 trillion market cap. I think that's going to force greater volatility within the cryptocurrency space. This is it. We have been talking about this for heaven knows how long, but here we are. I am to say excited is once again an understatement. It seemed like this day would almost never arrive. We've all had those moments before where you kind of just assume you're waiting for something. Will it ever get there? No, it's going to take a bit longer, but alas, here we are. A lot of the discussions are, for those of you not looking at the screen, it said Bitcoin price rests near $8,700 after dump. What's next? I could give you the yays and the nays if you want. The majority think that the actual fall down in price that we had yesterday or over the weekend was the actual halving dump that people were anticipating, i.e. it took place before the actual halving happened, and therefore after the halving prices will move up. You also have the naysayers who say that Bitcoin has to retest 3,200, that Bitcoin has to be so-and-so, which is complete nonsense in my opinion. The other articles who are talking about the actual current price of Bitcoin have made sure to note that we not only bounced off of the $8,000 where we fell from, but also that we're constantly floating around or maintained the $8,600, $8,700 support, which is a support line, and therefore the fact that we are over it, floating above it, against it, whatever words you kind of want to use, shows that we are still in bullish territory, if you kind of want to say that. And this person right here believes that we may retest $9,500 once again. In all honesty, I think this is going to be a very crazy week, not only for crypto, but just in general. Like for the entire world, I just feel something is going to be amiss. Something weird is going to happen, and I think that's also going to contribute to the wild swings in Bitcoin's price. As always, or rather, don't be surprised if the price goes down, and then don't subsequently be surprised if a day or two later we hear that it was from whales. I think there's going to be a huge amount of hype as far as people trying to buy. It's going to be hitting the actual, dare I say, mainstream news, because this is also a very big topic. If they've been talking about the price of Bitcoin before any of this was happening, imagine what's going to actually happen now, especially if we end up getting a really good move up or move down in price. It's going to hit the airwaves. No one uses that term anymore. But yeah, we are here. We're going to see exactly what happens. This is the big day. I actually can't believe that it's here. Yeah. I would ask what all of you think is going to happen after the halving. I know the comment section would just be a mess. It would just be tons of people fighting. I think the last like 2 weeks, I've seen such an increase in people calling each other names, or and I'm sure you've seen them as well. It's very difficult to the amount of scams, spam within the comment section has been absolutely wild. There's one in particular. It's actually really funny. It kind of goes like this. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you mentioned blank coin because it is my favorite coin. I'm glad you also mentioned it because like it's some type of a robot maybe that does it on almost every one of my videos as I go through the comments. It's very, very weird. And they pretty much write, hey, I'm so glad you talked about this coin, which I never did. It's usually like Hex, Digibyte, and like 2 or 3 other coins. If you've watched the channel before, or even just one other video, you know which coins are important to me. And yeah, so there's a lot of spam, a lot of fighting, but I mean, it's to be expected with all the. All right, yeah, today's the Bitcoin halving. Where will the price go next? Question mark, question mark. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, new data comparing Bitcoin's fundamentals now and around the second halving in 2016 demonstrates the immense growth of the network. Double, triple, and even quadruple digit increases are evident in all areas, including the number of Bitcoin addresses, the hash rate, and the daily transaction volume. While most members of the community are focused on the volatile price movements around the halving, new information compiled by Glassnode takes a thorough look at how Bitcoin's fundamentals have developed since July 2016. Seems like an actual lifetime ago. Oh my gosh. I remember 2016 was just a very weird cryptocurrency year. The prices weren't moving. I was angry at everything. I remember looking at the prices. You'd wake up and the price would be up by 2%, and you're like, yeah. You get back from the supermarket, it's down by 14%. It was just it was a rough time for me. For starters, the number of Bitcoin addresses has jumped by 234%. Those addresses are at an all-time high at the moment, over 30 million. Interestingly, the number is even higher than during the parabolic price increase in 2017. And this isn't the only thing that's up since 2016, 2017. This is why I mention a lot of times in many videos, while prices are important in the short term, the more important thing to look at is the actual fundamentals of the Bitcoin space. The addresses, the usage, the transactions, the amount of wallets, the amount of people who are gathering or accumulating cryptocurrencies, because this is what it's actually based on. If we had seen that in 2017, we saw this line going up, 2018, it was a rough year for all of us, but if 2019 had been around here, that's when you start getting worried. So the fact that we are on a continual upswing, with 2017 being the real anomaly, because it probably would have been resting around somewhere around here. This is great. It's nice to see that even after prices have crashed because of whales in 2018, that we are still on upswings. This is also why I mentioned before, why would all the mega institutions be looking to get into an asset class that was going to fail? It's because they know that it's not going to fail, and therefore, this is why they're pushing their money into it. This is just how I view it from my vantage point. Anyway, this is a list for the number of Bitcoin addresses, as Crypto Potato, recently reported the interest in opening new addresses containing at least 0.01 BTC or a million Satoshis has been surging lately, with over 430,000 created in the last 90 days alone. Additionally, addresses with at least one Bitcoin or 10 million Satoshis are also higher than in 2016 by 64% and 142% respectively. Entities holding 1,000 Bitcoin or more is the only measure which has decreased slightly by 7% compared to 2016, because Bitcoin's price is significantly higher and therefore it's more expensive to buy 1,000 Bitcoin. That makes the most sense. I was just watching something. It's really funny. I was making breakfast. I don't know if you care for that. The point is, I was watching something while I was making breakfast, and I was watching like a video of this guy in Switzerland who was, I think he owns Bitcoin Swiss. Who knows? And they were he was discussing, or he was being. Someone was interviewing him, and they were asking him the question, when did you first get into Bitcoin? What was the price? And he was like, price? He's like, I got into Bitcoin before there was a price. And the person was like, what? He said, yeah, I got 50 Bitcoin, I think like a couple of months after it came out, because I think he paid for his friend's coffee or something like that. And he mentioned that he had bought his first 1,000 Bitcoin for, I think, like $700. And I was like, so he holds an enormous amount of Bitcoin. Yeah, I thought of that when I saw the $1,000 Bitcoin, because if you bought 1,000 Bitcoin for $700 and you saw the price of Bitcoin hit $1, you probably go, okay, well, the price increased, let me buy a little bit more. It hits $4, let me buy a bit more. $8, buy a bit more. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting to note. Here's a little chart for the addresses. The daily transaction count and volume have seen substantial growth as well. More specifically, the transaction count is now 44% higher than in 2016, while the volume has skyrocketed by 682%. That's insane. To $2.1 billion per day. In fact, Glassnode informs that the on-chain volume of US dollars has been consistently high since 2017. Look at it's just a major difference. 2016 compared to every other year. These years were rough. I mean, it wasn't difficult keeping hope alive. It was just more like you just want something to happen, and then it's kind of like okay, you can go up now. Although the data above illustrates significant increases in almost all areas, none has been more impressive than the growth of the hash rate. Back in 2016, Bitcoin hash rate was 1.5 million terahashes. It is now at 109 million terahashes. To put this into another perspective, it's a surge of 6,837% in just 4 years. Bitcoin's fundamentals are incredibly solid. They're great. We are passing the high 2017 numbers, which once again, I mentioned in a couple of other videos. I said, don't you think it's weird that even not only that prices are down, that we could have anyone who would be negative and or bearish on anything within the Bitcoin space. We are doing exceedingly well fundamental-wise, and fundamentals is what ends up translating into higher prices, especially when people continue to use the network and more people jump onto the network and more people are trying to accumulate the 1 million, 10 million Satoshi range, or if not an entire Bitcoin, as Bitcoin's supply is limited. So regardless of there's a huge discussion happening right now amongst the cryptocurrency space, and I think we went over this yesterday as well, as far as people, or miners in particular, who are going to be selling off higher and or lower, depending on how you want to look at it, portions of their Bitcoin holdings in order to pay their rent, pay their electricity bills and stuff like that. You have to keep in mind that they may be selling Bitcoin into the market, but they are going to, for every seller, there is a buyer. And at some point, you have a situation where you realize once again that Bitcoin itself is still finite. Just because they are selling off Bitcoin does not mean that the Bitcoin machine is start spitting out more Bitcoin. It remains the same. It remains consistent because math. Anyway, yeah, I saw this. I thought it was great. I think we need more news like this, simply because I think people kind of lose sight of exactly how strong and powerful the Bitcoin network is. Once again, the news that we had, you can Google it. Bitcoin is the 8th largest currency on the planet. That's not a joke. So just imagine when we pass by that, and this news came out when Bitcoin, I think, was below or around $10,000. So imagine when we hit 25,000. Imagine when we hit $50,000. What number ranking Bitcoin will be. Anyway, that's that news, and let's move on. Next up, open interest for CME Bitcoin futures made a new all-time high of just under $500 million on Friday, the third consecutive day of open interest records this week. Significant growth in CME futures demonstrates the intensifying contest between, oh my gosh, I said contest between the stalwart institutional trading platform and crypto native derivatives exchanges like BitMEX. Over the past month, CME's Bitcoin futures market has grown faster than nearly every other Bitcoin futures market on a percentage and real growth basis. There are the charts right there, with CME being in yellow. Soaring CME open interest coincides with news that prominent American hedge funds are interested in investing in Bitcoin futures. As of April, Renaissance Technologies' flagship Medallion Fund is considering trading Bitcoin futures on the CME. On Thursday, Paul Tudor Jones, II of the Tudor Investment Group, also told investors he is keen to invest in Bitcoin futures. This is the entrance. We definitely went over the whole Paul Tudor thing a couple of days ago. This is in the beginning of the entrance, not interest, because they're already interested. The entrance of them into the cryptocurrency space. I think when it comes to the traditional or more traditional investors, it is easier for you to sell them the idea that you are going to get into Bitcoin futures, which may either be settled in so-and-so, either cash or in Bitcoin, but you have to have something that is comfortable to them. When they start seeing that they're making money, or when they start seeing that other people are making money in Bitcoin as well, the actual physical Bitcoin, air quotes, because it's digital numbers on the screen, this is how you get more people into the cryptocurrency space. But the fact that we've seen a large spike in interest for Bitcoin futures is, I mean, from a decentralized standpoint, you got to go, From an actual growth of the space standpoint, once again, keeping in mind, a couple of years ago, institutions would not even mutter the word Bitcoin, and now they're all over it. They're buying up as much as they possibly can, or they're trying to have some type of an exposure to the asset, even if it has to go through CME's Bitcoin futures. Fascinating indeed. We'll see where all of this goes. I don't want to give you a time frame, but at some point, we're going to see this interest accelerate in different directions, and I think it'll start more if we end up seeing more Bitcoin sidechains and or more Bitcoin decentralized finance products. I think institutions will grasp that almost immediately, trying to figure out ways to profit from it as well. Yeah, let's move on. In news that was kind of everywhere news-ish, maybe kind of, Ethereum co-creator Vitalik Buterin is fending off naysayers who believe the smart contract platform is simply extending the life of the legacy financial system instead of offering a truly decentralized alternative. I'll give you a backdrop just so you understand a bit more of what I'm going to go through. The idea has been since the very beginning, when Ethereum launched, was it late 2015, early 2016? The idea was it was garbage, it's trash, we don't need it, how dare you, we already have Bitcoin. That was kind of the idea. As time has gone on and Ethereum's risen in price and has become more popular and more people are using it and more institutions are trying to use it and the entire decentralized financial space has grown, that narrative has kind of disappeared. However, for people who are Bitcoin purists, the idea is that Ethereum is working with far too many institutions. Case in point, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. While a lot of these institutions may be making their own side chains on Ethereum or even using the actual Ethereum network themselves, the idea is that Bitcoin is meant to dismantle the current financial system, i.e. you don't have to rely on anything the old system has. Bitcoin does all of it by itself. You can send money back and forth to who you want, when you want, how you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just through the Bitcoin system. However, for Ethereum, it comes down to other companies and corporations are building things on top of Ethereum that are simply things that we already have in the traditional financial markets. Whatever JP Morgan Chase is going to be building on it, whatever Microsoft is planning on building on top of it. You kind of get the idea. And this leads to the simple idea that Ethereum is kind of facilitating the sticking around of these traditional financial institutions by building more. That's the argument. That's the actual argument for those. Like I said, I had to give you some context before I kind of went further into it. In a debate on Twitter, Buterin counters a statement from the founder of Crypto Noticias, who says the Ethereum-based decentralized finance movement, which is designed to offer a way to access services like loans without intermediaries, is actually creating an ecosystem that's chock full of middlemen. Once again, the idea for Bitcoin is I send money to you, you send money to me. There's no middleman. It's just me and you back and forth. However, with Ethereum, you have all these other platforms that are based on top of Ethereum, and therefore the money has to kind of flow through them, and or other middlemen are creating their platforms on Ethereum. So if I'm sending money to you, it has to flow through their system, and they have the AML, KYC, and then it pops over to you. But there's still a middleman when there doesn't have to be one. So this is true, and maybe Vitalik is still a Bitcoiner, but in present, Ethereum is clearly not sharing goals with Bitcoin. Ethereum is prolonging the legacy financial system full of intermediaries, and Bitcoin is creating a new one without the middleman. Vitalik said, I really and truly think it's the opposite. Bitcoin people seem happy to have lots of centralized middlemen, BitMEX, Tether, Liquid, and it's the Ethereum community that's trying to decentralize these functions with smart contract constructions, which is it's kind of a 50-50. A lot of the things that are becoming popular on Bitcoin that institutions want to use, once again, because they kind of have to go through these things, are things like Tether or things like Liquid, which speed up cryptocurrency Bitcoin transactions amongst institutions and or cryptocurrency exchanges. But at the same time, these things are going to be created regardless of if we want them or not. We're going to need side chains if Bitcoin is going to remain as a core unchained. And at the same exact time, same exact thing with Ethereum. If Ethereum becomes more popular, more institutions are going to build on top of it, whether Vitalik says yes or no. And a lot of what they're trying to do, or what they have claimed that they're trying to do with Ethereum, are the creation of smart contract platforms or whatever that they're trying to create, where simply that acts as the actual middleman. So it's the actual computer system doing it and not an actual person. But Buterin also lists a few Ethereum-based systems that he says have remained faithful to the decentralized nature of cryptocurrency, including decentralized exchanges like Ethereum Name Service and automated exchange protocol Uniswap. Like I said, this was kind of everywhere. I think this discussion is going to go on forever. You can make arguments on both sides. I think, or like to think, that a lot of the people on the Ethereum project are aiming for a more decentralized world, but you will always have that apple in the bunch who just doesn't really care, who is just there exclusively for profits, as opposed to the thought of making a better world for all of us, as it were. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I mean, this is sure, why not kind of discussion. But yeah, that's that news for today. In news I couldn't avoid, I tried my darndest, and I mean, I was bombarded with this nonstop. A stimulus aid package worth around $2 million was allegedly awarded by the US to the Tron Foundation. Matthew Graham, CEO of blockchain investment firm Sino Global Capital in Beijing, translated and shared the post. The Tron platform, owned by Justin Sun, has been handed by the US government a $2 million grant due to 19. It was posted on the platform WeChat 2 days ago. A report cited the grant as once again another Tron Foundation controversy, but it was yet an unverified claim. Stimulus packages from the U.S. So the point is, they're meant to be federal relief for companies in need. Here's the actual thing right here, the post. Apparently, the translation was, it was given by the U.S. in the form of $2 million and is not supposed to be paid back. The issue is, as it were, right here. It's a lot to unpack, but right here, for those of you not looking at the screen or who simply don't remember, it says BitTorrent is selling for $100 million to Justin Sun and his blockchain startup known as Tron. People from Tron have purchased an enormous amount. They purchased BitTorrent, they purchased Steam, and many other things that they've spent millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions on. So the question then becomes, did they need the $2 million? It seems more like if they, in my opinion as well, if they had better money management. I mean, $140 million is an enormous amount of money. To receive $2 million, do you need it? No. Especially when you have tons of businesses around the US who are actually closing, tons of people who can't pay their rent, can't pay their mortgages. So this is kind of the discussion going on. And a lot of people are not too, they're not too thrilled about all of this happening. Like I said, I could not avoid this. I really, really tried because I kept on seeing the news about this, but eventually it was like it's hitting me in the face over and over. If this is, so apparently this is still alleged. No one knows for certain. I think people have been trying to get a proper answer, but I think one has not been given. This tells me, supposedly, allegedly from the information that I have acquired, absorbed from the internet, they probably did receive the money, and as such, are just trying to be hush-hush about it. If they did receive the money, that's a bit of a shame. I've been watching a lot of stuff about the things that families and businesses are going through, especially once even all of, and I dare not say all of this is over the next couple of months. As more places try to reopen, a lot of places simply won't ever be able to reopen, so... Anyway, yeah, like I said, that was that news. If it turns out to be true, because it's all over the place. It's not like on one or two different websites. It's very major news right now, because I'm pretty sure people would not be and are not thrilled if this is actually true. Anyway, yeah, let's move on. This is awkward. And yeah, as of right now, depending on where you look, the timing is different on every single website. Some of them have it listed as 10 hours. Some of them, this one says 9 hours, 44 minutes, and 12 seconds, which is obscene to think that we're that close. Other ones have things like 11 hours. It's very weird, varying times. I assume as we get to the last hour, things will kind of slim down and become more accurate. But yeah, 9 hours, according to this, 9 hours and 43 minutes. Bitcoin's reward is going to get cut in half. This is absolutely obscene. They even have like a little chart down here for the other halvings and the block height when it's supposed to happen, and the actual rewards. When we, I remember people talking about Bitcoin's block reward being 25. The fact that we are at going to be at 6.25, and then a couple of years at 1.56, these numbers don't make sense to my mind anymore. Imagine going from 50 Bitcoin per block reward to 1. It's a lot. But yeah, that is more, or I was gonna say more or less. It's more and more the news that we have for today. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Hold on, I have to sneeze. Crayola Michelle, URL, On Crypto with Lionel, Tigara Machonisa, Bake Me a Cake, ArfMedic17, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bodie McBoatface, Yes to Crypto, Miller Hitch Test Every Day and Cal Skips Leg Day, Minting Coins, Jeremy Fox, Jim Gardner, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangialavori, Paxis, Vlad the Impaler, Richie Rich III, Nick Kanaya, Setsuna, Damien, Nicholas One Earth, One Peace, One Love, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Adobo, Bankroll Network, Crypto Joe, 242 to the World, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, Master Ventures in Thailand, Mohamed Maroni, Adam Graysick, Todd Mullis, A Bibliophobia, The Animal Reader, John Sarson, Nostromo, Chongo Lolo, Tsongo Lolo, Martin Steuer, Joshua Vineyard, The Pothead, Moonman High, XRP, Yasha Harari, and Professor Wally from Gunbot University. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. I do thank you all sincerely. At the moment, Bitcoin's price is currently $8,591, at least on this website. It is currently down by 2.8%. We are very volatile at the moment. I assume it's a mixture of people who are trying to, well, I mean logically, people who are trying to buy and who are trying to sell. Good job there. But I think it's only going to intensify as the next couple of hours go on. You have people who are either trying to raise the price of Bitcoin, and I assume there are massive amount of buy orders, but on the same exact side, on the other side rather, you have people who are adamantly trying to push the price of Bitcoin down. Why would Bitcoin logically be going down in price during this movement or monumental day that we've all been waiting for a long time. And with the fundamentals being very strong, it has to do with, I have to find like a really cool name for them, like dirty whales or like washy whales, or the whales who keep trying to push the price down. It's just them. Eventually this, I was reading an article about it before as well, and they said eventually this will be almost impossible to do because the buying pressure across the board will eventually be so high as the coming years continue to move on, because of the amount of people who want to accumulate Bitcoin, that any type of massive sell-off by a whale will be at their own demise because they'll have sold off, and there'll be a huge amount of buying pressure, or people who will be more than willing to buy up everything that they're trying to sell. So at the moment, the market is down. All of the market is down. I mean, Monero's up. Cool. Yeah. Just how things are. I was going to ask if you're all as excited as I am, but I might be the biggest nerd in the building here, waiting for the reward having to happen. I do hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.